I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
Thanks for listening to this episode with Allison Little. I am super excited for y'all to hear it, but wanted to give a quick disclaimer or two. One quick note was this was recorded back in June, and it was before we did the Performing Arts Center episode. So just note that the timing of that might have a couple things feel a little off because of that. And the other thing is that I learned, just like the episode last week with Laura, that I had COVID at the time of recording. So my voice was a little rough and shot at the time. But Allison's story is incredible and you will love this episode. So let's start the show.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have another amazing guest. She was a swing and one of the dance captains on the U.S. National Tour 5. So welcome, Allison Little. Thank you for joining me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate you asking me to do this.
Yeah, excited to have you on. So I want to get into some dance captain specific questions, but before we do that, I've got to start with your history. What's the history of Cats? When was the first time you saw it? What was your introduction?
I love that you asked me this because my first experience with Cats ever, I was 9 years old in third grade. My dance studio took a trip to New York. I'm from the Nashville area in Tennessee. And so this was my first time ever being in New York. And, you know, we got to take class at Broadway Dance Center. I got to see my first Broadway show, which was Cats.
Wow.
And see my first like professional ballet at ABT. And it's so crazy. When I booked Cats, it was just this full circle moment for me. Because being that 9-year-old sitting in the Winter Garden Theater, this was in 1991, and not knowing what to expect, right? And I remember we sat like kind of orchestra mid to the back of the theater, and I was kind of near the aisles. And again, I had no idea what to expect. And it gets dark, and these things are running past me down the aisles, and all of a sudden, there's green eyes in my face. And that's Green Eyes. And I just remember being blown away. I remember being mesmerized the entire time. The Mistopheles really stuck out to me, his number, because he has the huge dance feature. And Mungo Rump's number was just like, I remember watching them, and then I kept trying to find Rumple afterwards. I was like, where did she go? Like, she was so fun and so cute and quirky. And I just remember wanting to like follow her the rest of the show because I loved their number. And growing up, you know, as I went through life and then really deciding to make dance my career, my focus, and musical theater a focus in my life, I think that moment in my little 9-year-old third grade life like played a huge role in what I decided to do. So then booking the tour years later was just, again, one of those full circle moments, like I said. And I actually got to share that with Jillian Lynn. My first year, Richard Stafford, he was our director, reached out to us and just said, hey, you know, I would love to like send some emails to Jillian about your experience with Cats and everything. And so I kind of got to just type out my experience, like everything I just told you, to Jillian, you know, through an email. And I remember Richard kind of wrote back and was just like, this is incredible. She'll love this. And I got to meet her that first year. She came, and she didn't come every year. She came and watched our rehearsals, and we got to sit on the floor in NOLA Studios, and she talked about creating the show. And I mean, we were all just little sponges sitting there, you know, in awe of her. And it was incredible. So yeah, my first experience was seeing the 1991 original Broadway cast of Cats at the Winter Garden.
Your teachers have to be so happy about that, because like that's the point of this trip, right? Like they take you to New York, they let you kind of get a chance to see it and experience it live with the hope that maybe that is the dream, like that that's why you do a trip like that. And so to hear that is the moment that you kind of realize that this could be your profession is almost like the ideal scenario of that trip.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of studios do this now. They book these trips for their students to expose them to different types of art and different venues within the entertainment industry, which I think is so valuable. And it's crazy because at the time she was kind of the only studio in the Nashville area doing that. And a lot of us that trained there ended up going into the entertainment industry.
Wow.
Cruise lines, Broadway shows, tours, theme parks, and are still doing it, and are either choreographing, directing, still performing, having our own programs. So she really, it matters that childhood age is important, and what you do as a kid definitely influences you as an adult. So.
Yeah, no, I see it as someone who lives in the city in New York, and just a lot of the shows, the amount of times I've seen a high school group or like a group like in line going in with me is frequent. And so I think it's a very smart thing to do. I think that as someone who went to a few in high school and stuff was more of just like, this is a New York thing to do. Well, we weren't there for a reason. We were there for other purposes, but I wasn't a dancer, a singer, or a performer at all. But I love hearing that that's like a part of that was the intention, and it works out, which is really cool. So you have that full circle moment. Do you recognize that in the audition process, or are you going through so many auditions that it's just like one of the many you're doing? Or was it Cats was my first show, I want this?
No, I think you're just auditioning. I was in LA. I lived in LA at the time when they came out to audition, and it was just another audition. And that audition was interesting because I was auditioning for 3 shows at the same time. So they did Wizard of Oz and Cats together. That's what it was.
Wow.
And I know, yeah. And Moving Out was around that same time. I don't think they were together, but it was around the same time. And I remember when they came through, there was like probably 300 other girls there. And I got kept to the end for both Wizard of Oz and Cats. And I was the only girl who got kept for both. And I said, you know what? If nothing comes of this, I'm the only girl who got kept to the end for both. Cool. I'm good. Like, I feel good about myself, whatever,
Yeah.
And what happened was I actually didn't book it that year. There was another girl who booked it. And I was like, cool. Like, it just didn't happen. But they did put me on tape at the time. And this was back in 2008.
Yeah.
Or so, 2007, 2008. And I was like, cool, whatever. They called me April, so maybe that happened in August or September, or July, I don't know. And they called me in April to see if I could come to a callback in New York. I couldn't do it at the time because, again, I was still living in LA. And they called me again in May or June. And I looked at my husband and I was like, I have to go to this.
Yeah.
They keep calling, and I just feel like I need to go. I need to do this. And so I did. And sure enough, that was the year I booked it, So you never know.
Wow. Yeah. It is so much of the right time, right place. And then because they have needs, and especially for swings, it's like, there's the emergency, we need somebody in 2 weeks. There's the replacements, but then there's the full kind of normal audition. But I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about already being married and then about to go on tour. Is your husband in the industry, or how did that work? Because most of the tour, maybe this is more recent, but they're all kind of right out of school, or they're definitely earlier in their careers. Most of them are not tied down, and they're going around the country for a year or two. But being married and with, more settled, how does that factor in, and how does that play into part of this crazy profession?
Yeah, well, I kind of had this really honest moment with my husband now. We were high school sweethearts. So we started dating in high school and then college. And I remember sophomore year of college, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And I was like, hey,
yeah,
just so you know, this is what I want to do with my life. That means I will probably be away from you from time to time. Are you okay with that? And he literally was like, I want to be with you. Doesn't matter. You're it for me. So if that means I have to give up some time with you to do our life, he's like, I'm in. And he's been my biggest supporter this entire time. We just celebrated 19 years of marriage.
Wow.
In May. Yeah. But it was tough being away, of course. At the time, there weren't smartphones. We would Skype. We would Skype every now and then. We tried to talk just about every day, just to check in with each other. When I went on tour, we moved back from LA. We moved back to Tennessee. So he was near family. He wanted to go back to school. So he had, things he was focusing on at the time too. And it was hard. He would come out and visit though. It was actually cool. My second year, we got to spend New Year's in Hawaii. We spent his 30th birthday in San Francisco, and we had some friends that lived out there, and I planned this huge surprise party for him. And so we got, he got to come and visit, and we got to do some cool things because of the tour. So that was really fun. But after that second year, I could have gone back for that third and final year. They offered me a contract, but I knew I needed to be home with him. It was really tough. And so I was like, okay, I've checked all the boxes I wanted to check with this show. My best friends were going back out that third year, and it was really hard to say no to that. But I knew I needed to be home with my husband. So
yeah, we take for granted the timing. This was, I think you went in 2009, right? 2010, 11. The iPhone came out in 2007. You're in the kind of the BlackBerry era of that time frame.
Yeah.
So there wasn't what we know today, which is just just quickly FaceTime with somebody or hop on a video chat, or we're doing this so naturally and easily over video right now. That wasn't the case. And so it is a very different, world back then. And then also, transparently, you're going into a show where you're crawling on top of each other 8 times a week, it's a lot of a show too. So there's just a lot more to it as well. But it's just a part of your profession.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're playing a character, so.
Yeah. So let's talk about that first year you go out as a kitten swing. And so what was the first time that you go on like? What do you remember about that first performance?
So my first performance ever was at the Palace in Chicago. And if you've ever been to that theater, you know how stunning that space is and how magical that space is. And I got to be Victoria. And I will never forget that moment in my life ever. What was really cool about that year was we had scheduled swing-ons. So our schedule was very rigorous. That was the year we went into South America. And there were times when we were going to be set up to do 3 shows a day.
Wow.
Yes, I said that. 3 shows. Yes. So typically two is max. And there was just a few circumstances where we had those 3. So people had to be swung out. And there were just things coming up in the schedule. So they had scheduled our swing-ons. So we knew what to prepare for. We knew when we were going on, where we were going on, which was so great. Nobody was caught off guard or unprepared. And mine came pretty early on because Chicago was one of our earlier cities that year. And it was just magical. I mean, it couldn't have gone any better. The whole cast was super supportive. I just remember afterwards feeling really proud and confident about the show and what I had done, and very supported by stage management and everybody, because it really is like a family. It's a tribe. And we'd always say, shove with love, you should, if someone doesn't know where they're going.
Shove with love. I love
shove
that.
with love. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of give a little paw this way or ahead. You're supposed to be right over there next to that tiger eye on the floor.
That is great.
Yeah.
The idea is, I've heard before that you had the 3 show days when you were in South America. And the idea of that is just mind blowing. It's like, it'd be like doing an Ironman workout with doing 7+ hours of dancing, which I'm assuming they didn't let anybody do, right? Maybe Grisabella, maybe old dude, like some of the ones that don't have to do the heavy dance numbers.
I feel like there were 1 or 2 cast members who had to do all 3, the way the schedule and the puzzle fit together. I feel like our Cassandra maybe did 1 3-show day, and she was just like she was a powerhouse. She was just powering through. I feel like she did it. There's like a couple, yeah, but they really tried to swing people out as much as they could, because it is a beast of a show.
Yeah, I mean that's almost 8 hours worth of working out. Like that is a lot.
Yes.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about being dance captain, because that is its own beast, right? So when you come back, this is in year 2, I think, right now that you're a dance captain. What does that extra layer of responsibility look like on tour?
It's a lot. Because you are part of the cast, but you're also on the management side of things, right? You're also in this leadership position now. And so there's this fine line you have to walk. You're people's friends, but then you're also kind of their boss. And that can get really tough at times, because you're also in charge of maintaining the show. And, one of the biggest dance shows ever created in musical theater history, right? And
yeah, totally.
The dance captain is in charge of all the choreography. So it can be very daunting. You have to keep track of the dance Bible. I remember I was constantly working on the dance Bible, which, when someone was swung on, I mean, yes, they're in charge of their tracking as well, but, here's the Bible to say, okay, yep, you're going to go downstage of so-and-so, and then you exit downstage left, and in case they need reference. And if someone got hurt or had to leave tour, you were in charge of teaching the new cast member the show. So you literally had to know the whole show.
Yeah, you had to know every character, right?
You had to know every part. Yeah. And it's crazy that you talk about the time we were in, because we didn't video everything. We didn't. We're in this world now where everything is videoed. You have one rehearsal and we're like, okay, we're going to get a video. We're going to upload it to the Google Drive so you can practice tonight. That didn't exist back then. You had to just remember your choreo and write it down and practice your tail off literally every night.
Yeah. It is such a different world, because now everyone's roaming around with their iPads, or like they have a video or like something to reference. Whereas before you probably had a notebook, like you had what you had to keep your actual notes and move forward. It is totally a different world that we were living in back then.
Absolutely. So you just had to be on your game. You had to be on your game.
Was part of this like knowing the career you wanted to have and being a dancer and wanting to be a teacher? Was that like the first step into that, or is that like a part of the career progression, or is it just here's an opportunity to have some extra layer of responsibility and take on a new piece of this? Like, what's the thought behind dance captain in general?
Yeah, I had already been teaching at that point when I was teaching in LA before I booked the tour, and still performing and everything. And being a swing, it's not for everybody, it's hard work. It's a lot of thankless work. A lot of times, you're not on all the time. It can get emotionally and mentally trying, especially if you haven't gone on in a while, because, you're there, you want to perform, you want to do your thing.
Yeah.
So that can get really tough. But it's a great challenge. The show's never boring for you, because you're constantly tracking your characters, and, things evolve as you're now doing your 150th show, like people make different choices, and they, so you just have to keep track of all that, or you're running the show backstage. And so I had done the kitten swing thing. I felt really successful. I'd done all 3 of my tracks. I got to do Victoria, Rumpel, and Syllabub as the kitten swing. And I was really ready for another responsibility, honestly. And it was kind of cool. They would interview us. We'd kind of do like a kind of an exit interview, if you will, at the end, and say, hey, do you want to come back next year? And if so, what are you interested in like, what roles are you interested in? And so dance captain was one of the things that I said I would be interested in. And I know they talk also to the previous dance captain to get referrals, if you will, because you've worked really closely with this person. So I know that's taken into consideration as well. So, I mean, I just remember we would all, there's fight call rehearsals before, we do lift rehearsals before every show, just to make sure everyone's ready for that show that is scheduled into a pre-show. And I remember Brad Landers was the dance captain my year, and I would just watch him work, and I would sit like up the front of the stage and even watch rehearsals, fight rehearsals that I wasn't in or whatever. And I've always enjoyed teaching and choreographing. I was like dance captain on my dance team and in high school. And so I just felt like a very natural position for me to move into, and something I thought that I could do really well.
That's awesome. So as a dance captain, or just in general, even as a swing, how much did you think about personalities as it comes to the characters? Like, you learned the whole show. Do you think about the relationships, or are you just purely all right, you've got to be in this spot here and doing this dance move here and that? Like, do those worlds ever blend together? Because, I mean, that's obviously all I think of.
At first, it is definitely those first few times you're like just getting your bearings, right? Like, am I in the right spot? Okay, I'm next to these people I'm supposed to be in. I'm doing this on the right count. But that's also where that rehearsal comes in. And you really have to act as if you are one of the characters when you're learning the show. Like, I was really fortunate that our first year, Suzanne Viverado taught us the show, and she was the Kitten Swing on Broadway. So I felt like I had like a first, front row view to like what my role really was. And she was like, hey, you're really going to concentrate on Victoria. She goes, and then focus on your other roles. Like, everything will kind of play off of that. And the kittens are together a lot. So it was easier for me to put the puzzle together with the three of them. But once you've done it a few times, it's like you really can settle in and find your own characterizations within each character, which is so fun. Like, I don't have to play just one character every time. And like, Rumple is so different than Victoria, and Syllabub is so different than Rumple. And so it was always really fun acting wise to play with the differences within each character and the relationships that they have with the other cats, because they are different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like, there's so much story told there, like just by staging or just the personalities or kind of how that all is coming together. But from a dance captain side, like, you are teaching the whole show to everybody. You're showing all these different motions and movement that plays into it. But then you're not showing the like looks that they're making, or the like, like little playful nods that you have that happens. And so there's this like weird blend and blur between the two worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, as a swing, you first and foremost, you want to like be in the right position. You know where you're needing to go, when you need to go, and know your track really well on stage and backstage, because backstage world is a whole nother choreographed thing.
Yeah.
But again, with something like a tour that's going to run like 6 to a lot of times like 9 months of the year, there's going to be plenty of opportunity for you to go on as multiple characters. Particularly, like, I did Rumple more than I did any other of the cats. And so like, I really felt super confident with her, and I felt confident with all of them, but just like riding a bike, the more you do it, the more fun it is, the more comfortable you get, and you kind of settle into your own choices,
Yeah. You probably felt super comfortable with Rumple too, because that's like the one that you first noticed, right? Like, that's the full circle moment.
I know. It was really, really cool to, look back on my little 9-year-old self. Yeah. And just be her, and maybe, hopefully inspire another little person out in that audience who's like, oh my gosh, that cat was so fun.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. I want to hear a few of your fun or memorable stories from tour. Like, I do love capturing just like, what are the things you'll never forget from those 2 years, whether they're mishaps, funny things that happened off stage, Like, what are those things that you just will never forget?
Yeah. Okay. So being a swing, right? Sometimes you're on, sometimes you're not. And they also would schedule us to be backstage singing in the vocal booth at certain times. Not every show, but we had a schedule running. So sometimes you'd be scheduled to be in the vocal booth, helping with vocals. Sometimes you were backstage running the show. Sometimes you were in the house watching and tracking, or just watching, And I don't remember, we were somewhere in Middle America. The house wasn't super packed. It was a good audience, but the house wasn't super packed. And so some of us decided to sit in the front row and watch the show and give our kitties some love. And we were like almost to the ball. I can't exactly remember where we were in the show. We were almost to the ball. And I just remember I hadn't seen Victoria in like a second. I was like, where did she go? And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my right eye, our stage manager is almost like crawling on her hands and knees, like ducking down to like the front row. And she's like, Allison, you're on, Victoria. And I was like, oh my gosh. All of us in the front row get up and like mass exodus, leave and run backstage. And Mike, I kid you not, I went from sitting in the front row to being on stage as Victoria in 7 minutes.
Wow.
7 minutes. So I mean, it is literally a tribal situation. I am painting my face white. 2 girls are pin curling my hair. I'm trying to put some type of black striations on my face so I don't look just like a ghost, I'm not doing the whole plot on my face. And, someone's getting my mic pack for me and like getting me dressed as I'm just like, running basically to get on stage for the ball, for the end of, Act 1. The 16-minute ball we're about to do. So that is one moment that will just go down in history of like, how fast can you do this? And teamwork is dream work.
Yeah. And you're
and the
like
magic of theater,
featured in the ball, right? Like, but you're so important to the ball as Victoria. Like, it's a big chunk of that.
Yeah. You can't not have the white cat. She's got to be there.
Yeah. I also love your recognition of like, I haven't seen her in a little bit. And it's like the aha moment of like, oh, wait, hold on. I'm usually sitting in the booth or like where I'll get that call, but you're not because you're in the front center. Yeah.
Yeah. Normally like we would have been backstage running it or whatever, but no, we're like, we're going to sit in the front row. And that one time, of course.
Yeah. The way it works, right? The time you do that, it's the time, of course, you're needed.
Yeah. There was another time too. Oh man, it's the reveal after Misto's number of Old Dude. And I don't remember who was playing Misto. I don't know if it was our normal Misto or if it was a swing, but he goes to take, the cloth off and grabs his wig and the whole wig comes off.
What with it?
With it. And so there's a cat with just a wig cap on. There's a bald old Deuteronomy on stage. And we just all lost it. It was really, really funny. Because that was not supposed to happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
The amount of moments that I'm sure, it's like as an audience member, you go, most people go once, twice, it's like, you're not going to see it all that many times. Mm-mm. So, but the people who get to experience those moments, it's like, it's special in my opinion. Like it's such a different, unique, like, do we even know that happened? Do we recognize that that's happening? And then it's live. So how do you shake it off quickly and go on to the next part?
You just got to keep going. There was another time, this might've been the year after, it might've been the last year. So that I wasn't on it, but my friends told me about it. I think like Bomb's mic went out. And it was before she was doing her featured like McCavity number, and she crawled off and literally got a handheld mic from the stage manager and had to sing McCavity with a handheld microphone. But like, what do you do? I mean, that's tech. You
can do that.
So, you just make it work. There were split tracks. I mean, we had Sundays were called Super Swing Sundays because a lot of times people called out because they were sick or hurt. It's the end of the week. Yeah. So there was times where like 7 swings were on Sundays, which was always really fun for us too, because we're like our own little tribe within the bigger tribe, So it was fun to play with, other swings who were on with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fun to hear these, though. I'm sure you could tell them. I mean, I'm sure like when you get your group back together, it's just like endless stories of that. But let's go to our rapid fire here to bring us home. So if you could go on for any cat one time, one night, whether you could sing it, dance it, male, female, doesn't matter. Who would you want to go on as?
Oh man, probably Misto. As hard as that would be. And like jokingly one time someone like, something had happened. They're like, oh, Allison, you're like the next cover for Misto. I was like, that's hilarious. I think this is when I was the dance captain too. They're like, well, you know it. And I was like, y'all are hilarious. That coat weighs as much as I do. Like there's no way his coat is so heavy. But honestly, like that would be a huge challenge and it's such a fun dance number. So I'm going to say Misto. Yeah.
I love it. Who are your favorite and least favorite cats based on personalities? Like, who would you be friends with and who would bug you?
Okay, least favorite's going to be, and not because of, not because who played them or anything, but McCavity, obviously. And Plato shares that role with him. But I always liked Plato. Plato was fun. But McCavity, yeah, we can do without you. And then Bomb Ballerina is just like, she's sexy, she's confident. I always like secretly wished I could be Bomb, but I'm just too petite to play to play her. But I love her confidence and sensuality that she embodies. So I like Bomb a lot.
I love it. Favorite song from the show?
Oh man. I thought about this one too. This is a hard one, Mike. Probably McCavity.
Yeah. That's my answer.
It's fun to sing. It was really fun to dance. It's got that sultry, kind of jazzy vibe. I always love that number. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah. I always ask a fun one. So based on your profession, which cat do you think would be the best teacher for a class of 9-year-olds?
Oh, class of 9-year-olds. Probably Jenny, because she's lovable and fun. I was going to say Skimble. Skimble could be a little strict though. So I think, I think Skimble would be able to keep the 9-year-olds in line really well. But I also think Jenny could totally do that. But also be just that fun, lovable, teacher you want to give a hug to and love being in her class. Gives you that kind of grandma, mom, warm feeling.
Yeah, I've thought through the teacher question, and I think the answer is Jenny, Skimble's the principal, and Bomb, Ballerina, and Tugger are your substitute teachers.
Tugger's the really cool sub that is like, you can do whatever you want for the day. Actually, Munkastrap would be a good teacher too. But for 9-year-olds, I don't know. I think he'd be teaching like high school, college.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, most important question. I have argued at length that I don't think Griswold's the right Jellicle choice. So
I want to know why.
I want to hear your. I'll give my answer after, but.
Oh, okay.
But I want to hear your Jellicle choice first. So, if you, Allison, are picking, who are you picking and why?
I feel like I'm still picking Grizz. I really do, because we forgive her, and everyone forgives her, and forgiveness is such a gift, right? When you've done something, whatever that was wrong, that hurt someone else, that you regret, like that's hard to live with when you're not forgiven. Like you say you're sorry, but doesn't mean that person or whatever, doesn't mean you get forgiveness for it. But that's something we long for, and it lets us breathe easier when someone does truly forgive us for what we've done wrong. So I think it's really beautiful that she is the one chosen, whether it was truly her time or not. It's like she can now have that deep breath of I can move on because I've received this forgiveness. I've received this love that I so desperately wanted. And she's able to, move on and have the next chapter of her 9 lives.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with any of that, except why does she have to die? Why can't she just spend the year with her family? Like, why can't you have that exact same story and not let her continue?
But does she die, Mike?
I mean, you get reborn, right? Like you're sending her away from the family. She's getting removed from the tribe at the end. She's not going up to come right back down. Like, you're sending her away.
Right. I mean, so yeah, it's a little open-ended, but it's like, if she's reborn as another cat. So she gets to like live another, I don't know, you know? There's a lot of what if, and like, I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of questions that I feel like are kind of left up to the viewer.
Totally. I have no issues with the redemption arc story. I firmly believe that it's an important part of the message and exists. My problem is that she gets welcomed back, and then it's like, okay, bye, we're going to kill you now.
Peace, girl.
Like, instead of having a full year, like, oh, we just, like, you finally got that family to bring you back in. It's like, spend some time with them. Like, they're open to you now.
Yeah. No, I get that too. I totally get that. But then how would you end the show? How does it end? We're just all like, Dude and Grizz are on the tire singing together and like, we're having a party, maybe.
So there's two. I think there's one way that I would do it, but there's two ways. I think you run the exact same show with no change except for when you get to that up.
Yeah.
Instead of right before that, just give her like a big family reunion and hug. And then it's like we line everybody up and it's like, who's going tonight? And then it's you vote from the audience, or you just like
draw straws.
You have like you have some conversation about this. And then somebody else goes up, and then you end the show the same way.
Yeah. Well, hey, when you do Cats, when you remake it, you can do it your way.
I've been pitching every person, including one of your previous castmates, that has done this as a director to do this with me. The problem is I have no ability to do any other parts of the show. I couldn't teach you any dance numbers. I don't know anything about singing. Like, all I can give you is the idea.
The idea? That's okay. You hire one of us to come in and set all the stuff that we know.
Yeah, you all do the rest. You do everything
We'll just
else.
do the rest. We'll do the rest. That would be kind of fun. It's like, you know, what is it? The Marvelous Wonderettes. You get to like pick the ending of the show or whatever. So it's like you get to write down who gets to go to the Heaviside layer that night. It'd be kind of fun. Which cat is it going to be?
I think it'd be great. It'd be
fun.
Whether it's by like the audience chooses, which just means like whose family is in the crowd that's the loudest, or just a different city has a different take. Like, it would be fun.
Yeah, like maybe it's Tugger one night. Rockstar cat.
Yeah, or like exactly. There's gonna be some skewing, I'm sure, but I just like the idea of a different cat going every night.
That's fun. I like it too. Keeps everyone guessing, man. We still have to give Grisabella her redemption though. It's like the heart.
Well, that's the thing is she still gets brought back to her family. So you still have the same story. I don't want her to not get that moment. I think it's critical.
Yeah.
But I just don't, she doesn't have to go to the tire.
The tire and then the spaceship, the pod. You know what I'm talking about? The little pod.
Yeah.
We called it the pod.
Yeah.
But it's also like felt like it was a spaceship. Like, where is she going?
Yeah. Someone else could go. Send Gus up there. He needs it.
Poor Gus. He does.
Well, this has been super fun. How can people stay in touch with you on social media with everything else you're working on?
Yeah. So I have a professional account that, like all my professional endeavors, it's Allison_Little_professional on my Instagram account. And then I teach. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I teach, I choreograph around town. I have my own production company called Kerosene Creative Productions. And you can also find us on Instagram at Kerosene Creative Productions. And I actually run a professional training program through my production company called Ignite. And what I do is kind of train up this next generation of performers who are, you know, wanting to get into the entertainment industry, whether that be theater or dance, or even like, you know, they are looking for colleges to audition for, things like that. We offer professional classes and workshops and intensives for them to help, you know, get them going and get them ready. And everyone that comes in and teaches for my program are also industry pros who've been either, you know, in a professional ballet company or done professional work commercially, theatrically for 10, 20 plus years. So yeah, we run classes throughout the year. I typically like start classes in fall, like August, and we'll run through, you know, November or so. And then I'll do a whole session that begins again in January. I normally take a break for the summer, but we've got some good stuff going on. So you can follow us there and find out about it. You can also email me at allison@keroseneproductions.com and, you know, find me there and ask me any questions.
Amazing. Well, we'll link everything too, so it's easy to find in the notes. But thank you for sharing all the fun stories and your experiences. It's been super fun having you.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate you asking. This has been a blast, just like traveling down memory lane. So it was great.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anything else listen to podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Wrong Cat Died, or check our website, thewrongcatdied.com.